So it's gonna buzz out the lug bolts actually on these cars. They come out so easy because I actually cracked them. With the lug bolt, they seem to get stuck in there a little easier. But the wheel comes right off. That's nice. Remounting. So, take this off here, and what you got is your brake caliper, and this is how it's connected. What you actually want to do is right there. You see that right there? There's that's the 19-inch bolt, and then there's another one right on top there that actually holds it to the spindle. You got to remember that you're always going backwards, so if you're looking at it, to loosen actually is turning it clockwise. Not much that you can't fix with a pipe. So I'll put this on my ratchet. Make sure it's a good ratchet. This is a snap-on one, and they seem to do pretty good. Also, kind of makes it a no-brainer which way you got to turn it. Whew. She's on there. It's time to go for Big Daddy. There she goes. And another thing is, I kind of left the other side put together, especially something I like to do on brakes, because especially if you've ever done rear drum brakes with all the springs, that if you just go ahead and take both sides apart, you always end up with an extra spring and you don't know where it goes. So that's probably one of the best pieces of advice that I learned a long time ago. Oh, freaking on there. Yeah, there she goes. There we go. Yeah. Take my punch, and I'm going to punch out these safety pins. These are wear indicators for your brakes. Like normal cars have a, it's hard to see here in the sun. Let's see if we can block it out a little bit. That's a little wire that goes through there and it makes contact to complete a series, or it picks up, I think, on one of these. But about, I'd say a month and a half ago, this little light on the car, you can see it there, which I had no idea what the hell it meant. I had an idea, but as you know, if you drive a Mercedes, that half the crap on there is not, understandable by the normal person. This one actually wore off enough where it broke this little nub off. But this looks like it's a wear nub, so if it wears through this little plastic piece here, that means that, like I thought, they just come right out, just a little electrical connection. So they're replaceable. They didn't come with the brakes, so I'm not going to replace mine. But if you wanted to, you sure could. All I know is I didn't stop driving until I was hitting the rotor. But anyway, so Matt pounded it the rest of the way through, which makes this pretty easy. So just grab my vice grips here. And take your vice grips, get it on these pins. They actually pull out pretty easy. So the other side did at least. There's a little bushing there. I don't think you want to mess that up. It looks like it's metal though. And then it just comes out just like that. Let's see here. There we go. Came out a little easier. You could almost pull them out with your hands, but if you can use a tool, why don't you use your I use the hands. That's the guard. And then these little wear indicators that I'm showing you on the other side are right on the top right there. And that's the last thing holding the brake pads in. And they just simply pull out. That one's worn down too. I bet you can get these from Mercedes for not very much money though, if you wanted to. But that's something I didn't know. I would think that they had squeal indicators, but they never squealed. And all of a sudden, when the pad was totally done, it started grinding. It was going up the block. So to prepare it, I'll first take your brake pads, take your shim. Piece of shim, it's got the little holes in there. It's got little holes, lines it real nice, real easy. That's where my 9mm wrench comes in. And this is your bleeder screw. If you've worked on cars at all, look at that. That's your bleeder screw right there. And that is going to allow me to release the pressure. Again, it looks like you're turning it clockwise, but it's always backwards from you when you're facing away, when it's on the opposite side. Go get my drain. You don't have to catch the fluids if you don't want to. It just makes cleanup a lot easier. So you can see it draining out of there. Just push it till it stops. You'll actually hear it, or feel it hit the back of the caliper if you squeeze hard enough. This one's one. But you should, as long as you got fluid coming out, you'll be able to reset these by hand. Then you'll have to bleed it afterwards.
So, before we start bleeding the brakes, we're going to add some fluid. You can kind of see on there, just at the minimum. And that's because draining out the calipers to reset them, that's how much I lost. You really should could use a funnel here. Test my skills, my one-handed skills. I'm going to fill it up to the top. You really should have done this before you started draining fluid from the system, because if you run out, then it's a real pain in the ass, and you got to get air out of the lines. But I should be good here, and then all you need is another person. And just do an example, which is going to be my little sister. I'm going to call her out here. This isn't her first rodeo. You loosen it, depress the brakes all the way down. The fluid will squirt out. And before they let up on the other brakes, or before the other person lets up on the brakes, you close it and allow them to open it up, and that bleeds the system of air. And as soon as it's just fluid coming out, you're done.